I'm not poking a bear. I'm saying that he's a stone. And I've spoken to 2 men he's lived in sales with, who you had with. Curtis. No, I'm not saying allegedly. And you know it.
Jaguar Wright has never been someone who holds back. She's made bold, public statements about some of the most powerful names in the entertainment industry are Kelly, Diddy, Jay-Z, and over the years, some of those claims drew serious attention. So when she recently came forward with new allegations involving 50 Cent, people took notice. For those unfamiliar with her background, Jaguar Wright was once part of the neo-soul movement, sharing stages and circles with artists like Jill Scott and the Erupts. But over time, she became less known for her music and more known for her outspoken views on the industry itself. She has long argued that powerful executives and celebrities operate within a system built on loyalty and protection, one that, in her view, pushes aside independent artists who refuse to play along and silences anyone willing to challenge the people at the top. This latest controversy began when Jaguar spoke openly about why she stepped away from the music business. She described growing disillusionment with an industry she believes actively works to elevate certain individuals while blocking others. She claimed that genuine talent is frequently overlooked, and that financial and political power can determine whose music gets heard and whose gets buried. She even suggested that producers she knew had records ready to release that were quietly paid off and shelved, which she cited as a major reason she chose to walk away. When the conversation turned to 50 Cent, Jaguar acknowledged that she has often been painted as erratic or unreliable, a characterization she believes has been used to undermine her credibility. In her view, the louder she's spoken, the harder certain people have worked to discredit her. She then directed a series of personal allegations toward 50 Cent, though it's important to note that those assertions have not been verified by any publicly available evidence. The reaction online was immediate and wide-ranging. Some people responded with humor, revisiting 50 Cent's lyrics and creating memes around the controversy. Others took a more serious tone, pointing out that similar rumors had been floating around internet forums and certain circles long before Jaguar ever said a word publicly. Supporters argued she was surfacing claims that already existed underground. Critics pushed back, noting that repetition doesn't equal proof and that none of the allegations had been substantiated by credible sources. One name that kept appearing in the online conversation was a rapper known as Smith, whose previous comments were referenced frequently as people tried to connect various threads. Whether those connections held up under scrutiny was another matter entirely, but it didn't stop the speculation from spreading. Separately, some online users began revisiting old footage of actress Vivica A. Fox, who famously dated 50 Cent years ago. During a television interview, Vivica made remarks that many viewers at the time took as lighthearted celebrity banter. In that context, her comments seemed like little more than playful shade. But once Jaguar's allegations started circulating, those old clips resurfaced and took on new life online. Supporters of Jaguar's position pointed to the footage as part of a larger pattern of hints and insinuations. Others argued, reasonably, that Vivica was clearly joking and that reading serious implications into casual humor is a stretch. Either way, the clip kept circulating, adding noise to an already crowded conversation. Another thread that some online commentators picked up involved 50 Cent's long, very public feud with Diddy. Over the years, 50 has been relentless in his criticism of Diddy on social media, sharp, often sarcastic, and widely shared. In the wake of Jaguar's comments, some observers began looking at that feud differently, wondering whether the intensity of it meant something beyond a typical celebrity rivalry. Jaguar's supporters argued that the dynamic between the two men took on new significance when viewed alongside her allegations. Critics countered that public feuds between entertainers are common and don't, on their own, point to anything deeper. Old clips of Diddy himself joking that 50 seemed unusually fixated on him also began making the rounds again, another piece of footage that people interpreted in very different ways depending on which side of the debate they were on. As the discussion widened, attention also shifted to Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, who has given interviews over the years discussing various behind-the-scenes stories from his time in the industry. In one account, he described a private hotel situation involving a well-known rapper, someone he never named publicly. Once those clips resurfaced, online users started speculating about who he might have been referring to, cross-referencing his account with other interviews and public statements. No credible evidence emerged to confirm any of those theories, but that didn't slow the speculation down. Around this time, critics also began examining 50 Cent's broader public persona more closely, specifically his long history of making provocative comments about sexuality, often directed at rivals. Some argued that those jokes reflected genuine personal beliefs. Others suggested they were simply part of his well-established confrontational style, designed to provoke reactions rather than reveal anything personal. The debate over how much weight to give those comments was, itself, another reflection of how divided opinion had become. Throughout all of this, Jaguar Wright continued to stand behind her broader argument that the entertainment industry operates as a self-protecting system and that people who speak out against it face real consequences. She has maintained that outspoken critics are routinely targeted with public attacks on their reputation, professional setbacks, and coordinated efforts to discredit them. Whether one agrees with her or not, that framework has been consistent across years of public commentary. In more recent remarks, Jaguar moved beyond 50 Cent specifically and spoke about what she described as a wider pattern of industry behavior. She alleged that public narratives are sometimes shaped by powerful individuals looking to maintain their influence, and that some of the controversies currently surrounding high-profile figures may be more connected than the public understands. She referenced the situation involving Diddy and suggested that certain people currently positioning themselves as critics of that situation may have interests of their own that are being overlooked. She was also pointed in her criticism of how 50 Cent has handled his public presence in Louisiana, specifically around the time of the Super Bowl. She raised questions about his ties to the region, including what she described as a long-standing, low-profile presence there, while suggesting that certain public gestures were less about genuine community investment and more about image management. These were her personal characterizations, and they remain unverified. One of her more striking arguments centered on why she believes some public figures altered their behavior or went quieter as scrutiny of Diddy intensified. Jaguar interpreted those shifts as meaningful, as signs that certain people had reasons to stay low. Others pointed out that changes in how celebrities handle sensitive media moments don't necessarily mean anything, and reading personal motive into public behavior is speculative at best. As it stands, public opinion on Jaguar Wright remains sharply divided. There are people who view her as someone genuinely willing to challenge powerful figures and raise questions the mainstream press often avoids. And there are people who look at the pattern of unverified allegations and see someone whose credibility is difficult to assess. Both positions have their arguments. What's clear is that her commentary continues to generate real conversation about power, accountability, and how the entertainment industry really operates behind closed doors. The questions she raises may not come with easy answers or confirmed evidence, but they're questions a lot of people are clearly still asking. And that, at the very least, is worth paying attention to. If this conversation raised something worth thinking about, drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want to keep following stories like this one, make sure you're subscribed.